All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We got a small 7-game MLB slate, but we're going to talk about every game. As always, give you guys my leans and likes, and I've got 4 best bets for you guys on this small slate. But make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, comment down below with your favorite plays of the day. Recap from yesterday, great day. 3-0-1. We ended up pushing the Orioles first 5. It was 0-0. We had the Nationals on the run line plus 1.5. They ended up getting the dub. We had the Phillies and the Reds first 5 under 4, sweat free as it was 1-0, and then all hell broke loose in the 6th, but we could care less about that. And we had the Rays first 5, silly sweat free. So all in all, we had a sweat in the Nationals game, got off to a 5-0 lead right off the bat, and then let the Royals climb back in. But we'll take a 3-0 day. Let's have a 4-0 sweep. Let's go back-to-back sweeps here. Love the plays today. Let's talk about them. We do have some odd games, though. Mariners and the O's kicking us off at 105. You got Logan Evans going up against Tomoyuki Sugano. I don't love Sugano, but he is 8-3 at home this season. He is 3-1 in the last game of the series at home, and he's 0-3-1 to the under in the last game of a series. And you've got Logan Evans. He's got a 4.36 ERA. It jumps to 5.5 on the road in 7 away starts. Don't love his splits here. 250 to lefties, 260 to righties. Got a low K percentage to lefties. Hard hit percentage through the roof. Sugano on the other side, 245 to lefties, 235 to righties. Not going to K a bunch of people, although his strikeouts have been going up. So Sugano over 3.5 Ks, definitely one I looked at. I did look at the prop market today. My only issue here with this over being at 10. Yes, the weather is good and it's prime for runs, but we just got 2 offenses that, frankly, I don't know how many they can score. I trust the Mariners to score more, but we do have the wind blowing in today. There is a chance of rain. We've got a 33% chance of rain, but it's going to be 88 degrees, like a 5-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. It's just these O's bats. Yes, they got the job done yesterday, but over the last 2 weeks, they're abysmal against righties. They're dead last in baseball in pretty much every statistical category except walks. They've been walking at like middle of the road, but other than that, dead last in everything. And you got the Mariners who are kind of middle of the road. So you got 2 offenses that are kind of middling right now, but 2 susceptible pitchers. So this would be one, I just can't take the over because both bullpens are in really, really good shape. So Orioles bullpen's obviously pretty bad. I would lean Mariners in this one. I do like the road teams on getaway days. So this would be Mariners or nothing. I do have the score pretty close to this over-under. I've almost got a 6-4 in terms of the Mariners. So Mariners and the under would be the only way I would play this one. Next game is going to be the Cubs and the Blue Jays. We got Matthew Boyd going up against Max Scherzer. Cubbies got the job done yesterday. I had Cubs on the card initially, and I took it off. It was one I had already bet it because it was on the card, but ended up coming through for us, but wish I would have kept it on the card. Matthew Boyd has been not so great on the road. It's not that he hasn't pitched. He's pitched okay, but he's 3-9 on the road this season. He's 3-8-1 to the over/under. You got Max Scherzer, who's 3-2 at home. Now, this Cubs team on Thursdays, best team in baseball. They have not lost a game on Thursdays. They are 5-0 on Thursdays. Another fun fact: when the Cubs are on the road facing a starting pitcher with an ERA over 4.2, which Scherzer has a 4.21 ERA, they are 23-5, and they're 20-8. To the over. So pretty heavily skewed towards the over when they get a pitcher with a higher ERA. My only concern here, I love the Cubs in this spot. My model says go Cubs, but when they're in the last game of a series on the road and they won the second game, they're 6-8. So I don't love that. You got 2 teams pretty much the exact same record, home and away in the last game of a series. Cubs are 11-8. Blue Jays are 11-7. I think the Blue Jays are able to get to Matthew Boyd. I think the Cubs are able to get to Scherzer. So let's just take the over. So I'm going to take the over 8. I think it's just simply too light in my opinion. A pitch mix for Scherzer looks pretty bad over the last 30 days. Cubs are 6th hitting the fastball. They're 1st hitting the cutter. They're 1st hitting the curveball. They're 17th hitting the changeup. So it just doesn't look good for Scherzer. Player prop that I heavily looked at. I still like it. It just didn't make the card. Scherzer under outs today. I do think the Cubbies are able to get to him in this Blue Jays bullpen's not in terrible shape. Now, once we get past these starters, we get two very susceptible bullpens. Cubs, over the last 30 days, 5.04 ERA. That is 7th worst in MLB. And the Blue Jays, 6.38. That is 2nd worst in the MLB. So we got two bullpens that are struggling. I think both teams are going to hit. So give me the over 8 here in this game as one of our best bets. Next game is going to be the Marlins and the Guardians. Tanner Bybee going up against Edward Cabrera. We get this tight over-under of 7.5 today. Wind is going to be blowing in. It's going to be about between 4 to 8 miles an hour. It kind of shifts throughout the game, but it's going to be blowing in from kind of right field and right center. It's going to be 81 degrees, so not overly warm, but still pretty warm. Edward Cabrera has been really lights out over the last month. Splits have been fantastic, but he's been more susceptible to lefties, and his hard hit percentage is still a little high for me. On the road, he's got about a 3.5 ERA. Tanner Bybee's got about a 3.2 ERA at home. Splits have not been great over the last 30 days for him. 258 average to lefties, 327 to righties. I typically look at the right-handed side more when I'm handicapping this Guardians team. But this is a Guardians team coming out of the break's been hot. They lost their last game. Love the bounce back factor here. So give me the Guardians on the money line. Tanner Bybee is 6-3 at home this season, so he does have a pretty good track record. Cabrera 5-4 on the road. Guardians coming off a loss have done pretty well this season, so they do. I like that bounce back factor for them at home. If we look at the Guardians at home in the last game of a series this year, they're 9-11. Mariners are 10-10. So kind of even split there a little bit, but I do like the Guardians today. So Guardians money line is going to be one of our plays today. Next game is going to be the Phillies and the Nationals. Jesus Luzardo going up against Brad Lord. Luzardo is too much of a coin flip for me. We just saw the Phillies lose 2 in a row in that Red series, just get absolutely stomped last night. Romano, he's awful. That guy is terrible. They got to figure something out with that dude. But pitch mix here for Luzardo looks awful. Nationals over the last 30 days, number 1 hitting lefty fastball, number 1 hitting lefty sliders, number 8 hitting lefty changeups. That's everything Luzardo throws. On the other side, you got Brad Lord, who has been fantastic over the last 30 days. He has been quite good. And his pitch mix kind of iffy. Slider, Phillies are 5th. Changeup, Phillies are 3rd. Fastball, they're 19th. Lord's starting to work his pitch count up, so he is getting into like the 80s, high 80s, low 90s now. I think he's probably able to somewhat contain this team, but man, that bullpen is just awful. But I'm not paying this price for the Phillies, so no official play here, but it would be the over 9 for me as the play. I do think the Nationals are able to get to Luzardo. I think eventually the Philly sticks wake up. Maybe a change of venue will kind of help wake them up a little bit. I do have this game heavily skewed towards the Phillies. I have this 6-4 for the Phillies. So like I said, over 9 would be the first way I would play it. Next game is going to be the Braves and the Mets. Oh, this is a fun one. Wow. Mets blew another big lead. Like, what is wrong with this team? But Kodai Senga going up against Bryce Elder. So this is one. Kodai Senga is 8-1 straight up at home. Last 4 home starts for Senga, the Mets have scored 12, 7, 4, and 8 runs. So we've seen the first couple of games in this series, the Mets have just gotten out of the gates hot, like super hot. And now you get Bryce Elder. So there's that. Yeah, Braves are 2-7 on the road when Elder pitches. Mets are 4-1 at home on Thursdays. But the Braves, in the last game of a series on the road, are an abysmal 4-16. That is by far the worst in baseball. That is really, really, really bad. So this is one. Love me some Mets here in this spot. So we're going to take them a couple of different ways here. We're going to take the Mets, and we're going to do a race to 4. We can get that at minus 115 on DraftKings. Thought about laddering this. Frankly, I thought about just making this, just ladder the hell out of this. And I like the Mets team total over 4.5. You got a Braves bullpen that's just not in great shape, and they're just not a good bullpen in general. 5.47 ERA over the last 30 days. That is 26th in the MLB. And the splits for Elder are terrible. He's basically given up a 300 average to lefties and righties, low K rate, high hard hit percentage, bad with runners in scoring position. He's got almost a 6 ERA on the road here. Now that said, his pitch splits don't look awful over the last 30 days. The Mets are 23rd hitting the slider, 24th hitting the changeup, 13th hitting the fastball. But if we go over this past week, they're just hot in everything. This is a best lineup in baseball over the last week against righties, hitting 312 with a 178 WRC plus, and they've been able to get it with runners at scoring position. Number one, hitting 385. So do like the spot here with Senga. My only concern is the Braves do hit the fastball pretty well, but Senga's one of those guys, he only throws it 37% of the time. So he is a fastball cutter. He's got that splitter pitch that he throws, got a slider, so should be able to keep him off balance here. 82 degrees. There is a 34% chance of rain, but the wind is going to be blowing out. So love this spot here as Bryce Elder is prone to give up home runs. 1.62 home runs per 9. He's got a 1.56 whip. Now, I didn't run the track record here, but if I had to guess, Mets probably have a damn good track record against guys with a 1.5 whip. That is really high. So like I said, we're going to take 2 bets in this one. We're going to take the Mets race to 4, Mets team total over 4.5 in this one. Next game is going to be the Tigers and the Twins. Skubal going up against Bailey Ober. Skubal has a terrible track record against the Twins on the road. He is 1-6 in his career against the Twins. Now, he hasn't pitched against them much the past 2 years, but really bad track record here. We look at Bailey Ober, though. He has lost 5 straight home games. We got to go back to May 8th to find the last time he won a home start. So don't really love that. He did start off the season strong, won 4 straight at home. And then, like I said, he's lost 5 straight today. I don't mind the over 7.5, but my issue is the Twins haven't been able to hit lefties. They are 25th in the last 2 weeks, 23rd in the last week, struggling with runners in scoring position. The Skubal splits, he's definitely seemed more human. 267 average lefty on lefty over the last 30 days, 213 to righties, but K rate's still through the roof, and this is a Twins team that can strike out with the best of them. So I think Skubal racks up some Ks here. Maybe I wouldn't mind using like Tigers money line in a parlay piece, but they got a hit. We just saw in that White Sox series, I mean, runs were sparse with optimal conditions. So I don't love that. In terms of the weather, it is going to be 77 degrees, but we do have the wind blowing in slightly from right field. It's not going to be a huge wind, but at times it can get up there. I think at times it's projected to get up double digits. So we're going to have some wind blowing in here today. Don't really just can't trust this over under, but Tigers money line probably is a parlay piece, but man, it's just scary to take him on the run line right now with this offense kind of sputtering a little bit. Bullpen's been okay. Twins bullpen's been bad, as you would expect. I mean, you got Sands and then a ton of minor leaguers here. Splits for Ober last 30 days, 270 to lefties, 188 to righties. So he's been decent against righties. A little bit of an elevated hard hit percentage, but not terrible. He's got a 261 average with runners in scoring position, so still below league average. Got a 4.5 ERA at home. Pitch modeling doesn't look terrible for him. So, like I said, this is one, maybe use Tigers as a parlay piece, but I'm going to fade this game. And then last game is going to be the D-backs and the Rockies. This is a play that almost made the card. I think it probably will at some degree. The over 12 looks very juicy. Looks very, very, very juicy. But Blaylock's been pitching he hasn't been pitching terrible his last couple of starts, but he's still got almost an 8 ERA. And it jumps to 12. He's got a 12 ERA and 5 home starts. And Eduardo Rodriguez is just somebody I hate on the road. He's got a 6 ERA on the season on the road. His splits are terrible. And this is a Rockies team that's been hitting lefties, and they've been hitting them quite well. This is a top 5 offense against lefties over the last 2 weeks, top 7 over the past week. D-backs are starting to heat up. They're a top 5 offense over the last week and 2 weeks, hitting pretty good with runners in scoring position. So over 12 is the only way I would play this game. No way in hell I'm paying this price for the D-back, so it would be Rockies if I had to pick a money line. But the over 12 looks very, very juicy. I do see a lot of runs being scored in this game. Maybe a Rockies team total over, something like that. This is still a terrible Rockies bullpen too. 7.67 ERA, dead last in MLB. Pretty damn good optimal conditions here today. It's going to be 88 with a 10-mile-an-hour wind that's going to be blowing out. It's going to be blowing out to right, and then it's going to kind of blowing from left to right, but I don't see any point where the wind actually blows in. So runs are up 31%, home runs are up 26%. So if you like to take some home run plays, today's probably the day. Rodriguez is very home run prone, 1.67 home runs per 9. Blaylock, 1.87 home runs per 9. So like I said, over 12. I love this play. I just hate taking 12s. But like I said, typically at Coors, when you get these big numbers, they tend to hit. So I do love the over 12. I keep going back and forth. I really want to put that on the card. But we're going to fade it. But very, very strong lean that I would love to play today. I will play it in some capacity. It just won't be an official play. But let's get to the official play, speaking of those. So we're going to take the Mets race to 4 on DraftKings minus 115. I wouldn't mind. Initially, I had this laddered 3 to 5. So I do like Mets race to 3, 4, 5, hell, maybe even 6. Mets team total over 4.5. This was a play I gave out in the Discord last night. It is free to join, by the way. Link is down below in the description. Guardians on the money line, like the bounce back here with Bybee. And then we're going to take the Cubs and the Blue Jays over 8. Like I said, I think the Cubs are able to get the Scherzer. I think the Blue Jays are able to get the Boyd. We got two very susceptible bullpens waiting in the wings when both of these guys go out. Another prop lean, like I said, is Scherzer under. I like Scherzer under Ks, and I like him under innings pitched, so under outs. So those are the plays for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully we have a nice little 4-0 sweep here, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.